it going? It is time to start hips and hamstrings. So today we're going to be going over a 45-minute sequence to target opening up the hips and the hamstrings. I think that these are two really important muscle groups in our body that we tend to over abuse and neglect quite a bit. And in that, what happens is when our hips become really tight, our hamstrings become really tight, we're going to feel a lot more compression into our low back. The other part of that is, as our hips are really tight, we usually are unable to stick our sit bones back and lengthen our spine that way. What will happen is the sit bones stay really tight underneath you, and then it creates this rounding sensation more into the front of your body. So we're all familiar with this position where we're typing, we're reading, we're texting, whatever we're doing. When we open up the hips already, if I were to send my sit bones back with more length and opening, already my chest starts to lift and my spine can lengthen. So a lot of times with students, and especially with things like forward fold, it's less about your hamstrings and it's more about your hips being able to make that action happen and lengthen into your spine, and that's what's going to get your head closer to the floor. Much more than just focusing on your hamstrings. If I were to lengthen my sit bones back like I did seated, already nothing really changes other than my spine getting longer. And then from here, it's a true hamstring stretch to bring my chest down to the ground. So if you have two blocks with you, or if you have anything that's going to be about block height, my husband made these wonderful canes for me. And so I use these in my practice instead of blocks. What you can also use are like shoe boxes, or just random knickknacks around your house. Make sure that they are roughly the same height though, because we're going to be using them with like both hands down on the ground to stretch through our legs. Sit your blocks or your quasi blocks to the top of your mat and go ahead and come to a comfortable seat. Cross your legs today, your right foot in front of your left foot. I like to align the heels of my feet with the center of my body. Knees nice and wide, sit down onto your sit bones. If that's uncomfortable for you in any way, you start to get that rounding sensation into your spine. Instead, sit up onto something, a blanket, a pillow, something underneath your seat, so that you have a little bit more lift, and again, you can lift your chest. Lift your spine, close your eyes. Draw the tips of your shoulder blades, the bottom tips of your shoulder blades together and slightly down. Take a deep full breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep your breath moving nice and long. Elongate even more on the inhale. And then with every exhale, you try to breathe out longer than you're breathing in. And this breath pattern will allow you to tap into the present moment a little bit quicker. With 45 minutes, we just have to focus. Stay in our practice the entire time, because there's not any time or extra space to get distracted, to move away from what we're already here for. Now breathe into your hips. Start to think about the muscle fibers of your hips weaving right, left, front, back. There are so many different muscle fibers in different directions around the outsides of our hips, the backs underneath our glutes. And just imagine that those fibers are starting to get pulled really long without any movement. Can you create a sensation? Take a deep full breath in and a breath out. Lengthen through your spine. Blink your eyes open and come up onto all fours to start. Hands plant down, knees plant down. Go ahead and bring the tops of your feet down onto your mat for this one. Press down into your arms, but just enough that your shoulder blades come to a neutral space so they're not extended too much and they're also not plugging in necessarily. Draw your navel in and draw your sit bones back and down toward your heels, but just enough that you feel neutral tilt into your pelvis, so not tucking under, but also not sticking up either. Core is engaged and the deepest layer of your core is wrapping back to your spine. Bring your knees a little bit closer in together, and without moving or shifting your hips, can you pick up your right knee, and then can you bring your right knee as close to your right ribs without moving your hips or allowing your spine to move with it. So keep your hips exactly where they are, draw your navel in, press into the ground, and then make tiny little circles on the floor with your knee. Don't go so far that your hip has to work into it, and start to connect more to your arms, your chest, your core, your inner thighs, and you'll start to notice you lift up Mula Bandha, your pelvic floor lock, automatically by keeping your hips steady and engaging your inner thighs together. Set your right knee down, pick up your left knee. Again, try not to move your hips with this. Draw your left knee in toward your left ribs. Don't move your hips. Keep your hips in a neutral space. And then small little circles on the ground. So it's not this huge arcing motion where the circle is getting up onto the wall or anywhere else. It's completely on your mat. What we're doing here, we're just moving a little bit of the cartilage in the hip socket, starting to wake up the surrounding muscles and checking in with what is already kind of quickly turning on and what do we need to communicate a little bit more deeply to. Finish up that last circle, left leg down. And now press down into your arms, tuck your toes under, lift your knees off of your mat just an inch to hover. Press down into the ground and tilt your sit bones up to the ceiling. Drop your low belly like a little cow pose. Pull your heart through. Exhale, keep your knees hovering, cat pose. Draw your tailbone underneath you first, and then press down into the ground, round your upper back. Inhale, quasi-cow. Nice and strong through your legs, squeeze your inner thighs. Exhale, quasi-cat. Press into the ground, navel in. Inhale to neutral here. Notice that movement into your hips. Now stick your hips up and back like you're going to cow pose, but press into your arms and move your torso back. Downward facing dog with your knees bent generously. You can lift your heels as much as you need to. As you're starting to get comfortable, you can start to straighten your legs and let your heels find the floor. Press into your arms, wrap your biceps forward and your triceps back, and right across the back of your armpit, can you think of that almost wrapping down and in? Press firm into your feet, lift your sit bones up to the ceiling again if you need to. Keep the bend into your knees, lift your sit bones up, and that'll already get you more length into your spine. Take a deep full breath in. Exhale, step your right foot forward to a low lunge. We do that on the exhale to keep the psoas relaxed. Lower your back knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead to lengthen through your spine. Press into your right heel, reach up higher. Inhale, look up, gaze up. Exhale, hands clasp behind your head. Now press into your right heel, draw your navel in. You might feel your lowest ribs move back. Good. Now, press into your right heel, move your hips down and forward towards your left heel, or towards your right heel, lift your chest up, and then you're going to side crunch over to the right. So from the front, I've got my hands interlaced, right leg is forward, hips down, ribs in, lift through the back of the head, and then the side bend is the little cherry on top to really lengthen through the left side and the front of the left hip flexor. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, plant your hands. Maybe grab your blocks and straighten both legs. Keep your back heel lifted high to the sky. Your left heel stacks even past your left toes. This is where your blocks are going to come in handy. If you don't have blocks today, you can always bend your front knee. And again, focus more on the length of your spine and getting your sit bones back where they need to be, rather than rounding down, rounding forward with a straight leg. Press down into the ground, long spine, bent knee or straight leg. Your back heel is still lifted. Inhale here. And exhale, fold over your right shin, fold down. Inhale, long spine, lengthen. And exhale, fold. One more breath in. And a breath out, fold down. Inhale, long spine, lengthen halfway. Now pick up your right toes and then swivel onto the pinky edges of both feet. You can take your blocks with you to help carry you over. Keep a nice long straight spine and cross or twist at your hips. So your left hip is going down and forward towards your front right leg, and your outer right hip is moving back all the way to the left edge of your mat. Now press into the pinky edges of both feet, lengthen through your spine. If you have blocks and you're feeling really comfortable here, the lower you get, the deeper of a stretch you'll feel. Now, if you don't have blocks and you're not feeling comfortable, that's also very valid too. Don't go into as deep of a twist. Maybe you stay here, keep your front leg bent, and then move your hips from there, but you don't have to move your torso quite as far. Stay for 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. One more breath in. Exhale, walk your hands forward and bend into your right knee, and then spiral your back heel down, extended side angle, but keep it high up. So either keep your hand on a block, don't touch onto the floor, or take your forearm to your thigh if you don't have a block, lift your left arm open and turn your chest up to your left palm. Wrap your sit bones together, back and down. Lengthen through your low back. Turn your chest up to your left hand and then either stay here or reach your left arm up and overhead. So now in this extended side angle, we're really looking at the quadratus lumborum across the low back and even starting to get into the top of the glutes. One more breath in. Exhale, left hand down to your mat, supported side plank. If you have a block, you can use it here to help keep you lifted. Press into your right foot, come onto the pinky edges of both feet and lift your hips high. If you don't have a block, no problem. This is always a nice good stretch from the floor as well. Open across your chest, lean your right shoulder blade back, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog, right foot back to meet your left. Inhale, come forward, high plank. Notice how different your legs feel here. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, hips high and back, downward facing dog. Inhale here. On your breath out, step your left foot forward. Breath empties all the way down. Lower your back knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, find a little bit of depth. Inhale, lift your chest, but wrap your lowest ribs in. Exhale, interlace your hands behind your head. Inhale, lift the back of your head up, and then exhale, lean over to the left as if you're going to touch your left elbow to your left side. Keep moving your hips down and forward. Lift your right elbow up. Get a nice long stretch through your right side. Inhale. Exhale. Press into your left heel. One more breath in. Stay. Find more depth on your breath out. Inhale, arms up through center. Exhale, plant both hands. Blocks or no blocks. Straighten both legs. Or keep your front leg bent, especially if the blocks are hard to reach. And keep your back heel all the way forward as high up as you can, so that way you even start to work into your calf muscle. Press into your hands, lengthen through your spine. Remember, we want to find the length into our spine rather than rounding down to the floor. Bend your knee and then lengthen through your heart. And then from there, start to straighten your leg if you're feeling comfortable. Inhale. And exhale, fold. One more breath in here. And one more breath out. Inhale, long spine. Pick up your left toes and now swivel onto the pinky edges of both feet and walk your hands all the way over to the left side of your mat. So you can really see my hips here starting to get into the twist. The twist is more happening in my hips than in my spine. Again, there are always options. If you're feeling comfortable, you walk your hands lower to the ground. You can even start to try to lower your forearms down or your forearms to your blocks. If you're not comfortable here, go ahead and frame your left foot, bend your left knee, and then twist from your hips, move your hips back, and then from there you can start to straighten your left leg, but you don't have to move around quite as much with your spine. Lift your chest, lengthen. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath in. Exhale, unwind to the top of your mat, bend into your left knee. High extended side angle. Spiral your back heel down. Keep your hand either on your block or take your forearm to your thigh. Sit deep into your front knee still and open up across your chest. Turn the center of your heart up to your right palm. Gaze up. You either stay here or reach your right arm nice and long. So from your right pinky finger down the line of your right side to your right pinky toe, you're getting as long as you can. And then your left side mirrors that underneath you, and then you sit deeper. Inhale, turn your right hip open. Exhale, right hand down, supported side plank. Swivel onto the pinky edges of both feet. You can use your right hand onto your block, or this is also a wonderful stretch from the ground. Press into your feet, lift your hips high to the sky, inhale. Exhale, square off through center. Downward facing dog, left foot back to meet your right. Inhale, come forward, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga, knees up or down. Cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, press back, hips high, downward facing dog. Full breath in. And a full breath out. Inhale here, walk your feet in just one effort. Exhale, bend your knees, gaze forward. Inhale, float forward, lengthen halfway, same breath in. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, press into your feet, gaze up, lift up. Exhale, fold right back down to your mat. Inhale, long spine, lengthen halfway. Exhale, step your left foot back to a low lunge. Back knee down. Inhale, arms up. Lift your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Plant your hands, hips high. One breath, one movement. Inhale, come forward, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, hips back. Downward facing dog. Step your feet together. Lift your right leg high to the sky. And bend your knees, stack it open. Inhale, lift, lengthen higher. And exhale, knee to your third eye 3 times. Inhale, lift up and back. You can get fancy here. Exhale, knee to your third eye. Move within your practice. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, step through. High lunge this time. Press off through your back toes, strong into your legs. Gaze up. Exhale, forward fold to the top. Left foot to meet your right. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Feet can be hip bone distance apart. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Reach up overhead. Exhale, fold right back down to your mat. Bend your knees if you need to. Inhale, long spine lengthen. Exhale, right foot back, low lunge. Back knee down on this first one. Inhale, arms up. Lift up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Remember, one breath, one movement. Inhale, come forward, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg high to the sky. Exhale, bend your knees, stack it open. Inhale, lift higher here. Full inhale. Exhale, knee to your third eye 3 times. Inhale, lift up and back. Same variations you played with on the first side. Exhale, knee to your third eye. One more time, lift high. Exhale, step through, high lunge. Keep your back knee lifted. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold to the top. Plant your hands and then step your right foot forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Press your feet, gaze up, lift your heart. Exhale, fold right back down to your mat. Bend your knees if you need to. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, chaturanga, step or flip. Inhale, heart up, fill up. Exhale, hips back, downward facing dog. Step your feet together, lift your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, bend your knees, stack it open. Let that be a full exhale. Inhale, lift higher. Exhale, knee to your third eye. Hug and round your back body. Inhale, lift up and back. Exhale, twist to your left armpit, cross your body. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, right knee, right armpit, little tap here. Stay. Figure four, downward facing dog. Right ankle on top of your left thigh. Flex your right foot and move your right inner thigh away from you. Lift your sit bones up to the ceiling. Now, you're going to try to keep your right shin parallel to the floor and parallel to the top of your mat. You're going to touch your left ankle to your left wrist at the same time that your right knee touches your right wrist. Inhale here. Exhale, move forward, touch. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, reach forward, touch. Good. Inhale, figure four, downward dog. Exhale, reach forward, touch. Hold it for 3. Hold it for 2. Lift your right heel for 1. Tripod, downward facing dog. Right leg up and over. Bend your knees, stack it open. Stay here, flip it over. Side plank variation, your choice. Get yourself some opening first. Ooh. Inhale. Exhale, vinyasa. Let that go. Heart up. Hips back. Feet together, left leg high to the sky. Bend your knees, stack it open. Now curl your left heel toward your left sit bone. That'll help. Inhale, lift higher. Exhale, knee to your third eye. Hug in. Inhale, come back. Exhale, twist right armpit. Feel your obliques working. Inhale, lift high. Left knee, left armpit. Little tap here. Figure four, downward facing dog. Left ankle on top of your right thigh. Now flex your left foot. Some pointers that I will give you for this. Now, as I come forward, notice how I'm trying to keep my hips really high. If I come forward and drop my hips down, my left shin doesn't have anywhere to go. But if I can press, keep my hips high by engaging core, then my left ankle has somewhere to go. Now, the other thing is your adductor has to pull your left heel up away from the floor. Inhale here. Exhale, reach forward, touch. Inhale, lift it. Exhale, touch. Inhale, lift it. Exhale, touch. Hold it. 3. Hold it. 2. Lift your left heel. 1. Tripod, downward facing dog. Stack it open. Stay here, flip it over. Side plank variation that you did on the first side. Whichever you prefer in your body. Inhale. Exhale, vinyasa. Let it go. Walk your hands back to your feet, or walk your feet halfway up and your hands halfway back. Breathe, inhale. Exhale. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Walk your feet a little bit wider than you would normally have them and give yourself a sway side to side here. One more breath in. And a breath out. Unwind your arms. Inhale, lengthen halfway, long spine. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Reach up overhead, gaze up. Exhale, fold right back down to your mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, long spine. Walk your hands out, step your feet back to a high plank. Pause here. Press down into the ground, navel in. Inhale, gaze forward, shift forward. Exhale, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, heart up, fill up. exhale, hips back, just clearing the slate with a vinyasa. Full breath in. On your exhale, step your right foot forward to a low lunge and make this a 90 degrees. So 90 degrees in your front leg, 90 degrees in your back leg. I have very bony joints, and so I like to have a little bit of extra padding on my knee. I fold up my mat once, and that seems to be enough for me. Some people always keep a blanket underneath their knees on their mat. I think that's also a real smart idea. I just haven't, put in that kind of effort. Drop your right hip down, square your hips to the front, and now reach your left arm up. We're gonna play around with this pelvic tilt that I've had you be kind of aware of here. Now, don't think about it too much. This is about your neutral pelvic tilt. Can you draw your low belly in and notice if that starts to automatically bring it down? Can you dump your belly out and stick your sit bones back and notice how that automatically gets you an arch into your back? So for this next bit, we're going to go sit bones underneath, navel in, and where we're stretching right across the top of our quadricep, but we can even get into the hip flexor and deeper into the psoas this way. You can place your right hand down onto your thigh, or if you have like a ledge or something that's nearby that'll help you balance, you can use that. You can stack your blocks if they will stack. I'm just saying if you need a little bit of balance here, go ahead and use that. Otherwise, your thigh will be your counterbalance. Left arm up, sit bones underneath you, navel in, and now you're gonna try to pick your left heel, up off of the ground. Hold it. Don't use your hands. Press down into your right heel. Try to keep your hips neutral. Sit bones drawing underneath you. Belly in, belly in. This is strengthening your hamstring, turning on the hamstring muscles so that way we can totally release them later. Hold it for 3, 2, lift higher. Grab your left foot with your right hand. Pull your foot in towards you. Draw your navel in, and you'll get a real deep release through your quadricep. How nice is that? Now bend into your right knee. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Bend both knees a lot and notice what's different in your left leg versus your right leg. And then your left hamstring is probably like, ee! Step your right foot back from here. Lower your back knee down again. You can add your extra padding if you need it. Come to neutral first. Observe what that feels like. Draw your sit bones back, observe what that feels like. And now draw your sit bones underneath you, navel in, observe what that feels like. So we're gonna lift the same arm as the leg that is back, and then press into your left heel, drop your left hip down, and try to lift your right heel off of the ground as high as you can. Curl your right hamstring, press into your left heel, and draw your navel in, your sit bones back and down. Lift your right heel, hold it for 3. Lift your right heel, hold it for 2. Lift your right heel, hold it highest point, and then grab your left hand to your right foot, pull your foot in, drop your sit bones underneath you, lift your right arm up, try to lengthen. Slowly unwind, bend into your left knee, and step your right foot up to meet your left. Now fold here. Press into your legs, lengthen through your spine. Bend your knees again, step your left foot back to a low lunge. Lower your back knee down, half splits this time. Keep your left hip roughly above your left knee, about 90-degree bend. And then you can use your blocks here, again, to lift the ground up to you. If you don't have those blocks, but you find that you're rounding over, bend your right knee more, lengthen through your spine. You're almost thinking sit bones back more than underneath you. Back sit bones. And then once you get that length into your spine, you can start to straighten your leg more from there. Now, tick-tock your right toe side to side and allow your hips to go with it. So your hips scoot out when your toes go in, your hips scoot in when your toes go out. And you can really feel across your hamstrings and across your hips that way. Now you're going to drop your right toes over to the right. Turn your hands to the right edge of your mat. And then you're going to scoot your left knee underneath your right for Gomukhasana, sit down. So that way your knees are stacked one on top of the other. Your blocks don't really need to be here, but they can help you if you find yourself like coming down, but you want to lower your forearms. You can lower your forearms onto your block. Your feet closer towards your hips is going to be easier for your hips. Your feet parallel to the edge of your mat, nice and long, is going to be a deeper stretch. Lift your chest up. You can take Gomukhasana arms if you prefer. Right arm on top of left. Lift your heart. Lean forward. Draw your lowest ribs in, and then let yourself fall down. I will say this is not my favorite arm bind, but mainly because I need to practice it more. Close your eyes, go inward for a moment. We're going to hold this so that way you truly have time to let go, relax, find the ease within the effort. Two more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in. And a breath out. Slowly, very slowly unwind your arms if you have the arm bind. Sit tall. Press into the edges of your feet. If they're closer in towards you, you don't need to worry about that. Press into the edges of your feet and wind just your legs, and then plant your feet down to a wide leg forward fold. Hello. I'm going to face this way so that way you don't have to get that shot. You can stay here. You can play around with your handstands if that's in your practice. One of my favorite twists here, you're going to reach your right hand across to your left ankle. Now you can stay here, breathe, open up, or thread your left arm underneath and through to your right ankle, and then from there you can pull your spine to unwind your chest. Now my hips probably aren't square. Let's see if I can get them. Press down into both feet, lift your hips high, and then they'll start to square for you. One more breath in. Exhale, unwind. Move to the top of your mat, then back into your right knee. Lengthen through your spine. And exhale, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Exhale, step your left foot forward. Back knee down. Half splits. Straighten your left leg. Grab your blocks if you need them. Keep your bend into your knee if you need to. Find the length into your spine first. Sit bones back, sit bones back, sit bones back as you straighten your left leg. It doesn't have to go all the way straight. Stay here or tick-tock your left toes side to side. Let your hips go with it. Totally good. The breath patterns here, just whatever makes sense. I don't really focus too much on having like inhale this way, exhale this way, because ultimately the inhale and exhale should be giving me the same sort of like sensation in my body at this point in my practice. Like inhale, we're lengthening, but exhale, we're also lengthening. Now drop your left toes over to the left. Walk your hands just around to your left leg And then slide your right knee underneath your left knee for Gomukhasana sitting down. Again, if you bring your shins all the way to parallel to the edge of your mat, that's going to be deeper into your hips. If you have your feet a little bit closer back towards you, going to be a little bit more accessible. Also, just like at the very beginning of this sequence, if you have your hips lifted up, that's also going to give you a little bit more space. So sometimes sitting onto something, your blanket, your pillow, that'll also help you. Gomukhasana arms, left arm on top of right, opposite from the first side, and then fold down. Breathe here. Notice what's different, what's the same. From left to right sides, they can be almost like different people, especially the hips and hamstrings. I feel like those take the grunt work of everything that we want to store away in our lives. The root chakra, the first chakra in the energy line, is at the very bottom of our pelvic floor. And so everything surrounding in our hips and underneath in our hamstrings, I almost think of it as the trunk. So if the spot where the tree limbs start to branch out and away, that spot is our root chakra, and then our trunk is our hamstrings and our hips from there. Like, that's the foundation. And if you cut from the bottom of the tree into our hamstrings and hips, the whole thing's going to come down. Slowly come up. Very slowly unwind your Gomukhasana arms. Press into your feet. Unwind your legs to your wide leg forward fold. Now on this side, if you're doing the twist again, you're going to reach your left hand to your right ankle. You can either stay here, open up, or thread your right arm through to your left ankle and then pull your chest, trying to keep the hips square. I also feel this in my shoulders. It's real nice. And I'm using my arms. I'm like pulling with my right hand, pulling open and back with my left elbow. Very, very slowly unwind. Move to the top of your mat. Downward facing dog. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Straighten your legs as much as you need to. Close your eyes. Wrap your shoulders open. The very backs of your armpits down. Soften your jaw, your neck. Move your shoulders away from your ears. Breathe into the back of your body so that way the fronts of your ribs can move inward. The deepest layer of your core pulls your diaphragm, and your sit bones lift higher. Inhale. And exhale. Walk your hands back to your feet, or your feet halfway up to your hands. Ragdoll, grab opposite elbow, sway side to side. You can also take Padangusthasana, peace fingers around your big toes. Padahastasana, slide your hands underneath your feet. One more breath in. Exhale, gently unwind your clasp. Press into your hands, lengthen your spine halfway. Now take your hands just a little bit wider to the outside edges of your feet. We're going to try a jump through from right underneath here. If you think about it, handstand is going to be the hardest to lift up from the closest that your feet are from your hands. So kind of the same idea with these. If you have your blocks are going to give you a little bit more height with your hips, so that might make it a little bit more accessible. Now, as you press down, think of cat pose in your belly. Navel in, navel in, navel in. Press down into your arms, spread your shoulder blades apart as much as you can, and curl into the tightest little ball, and your hips will just naturally start to come down. You're super close from the floor anyways, so you're not going to come crashing very far. Double pigeon to round out this entire practice. I love double pigeon. It's one of my favorite poses of all time. Right shin down first, and you want to bring your right shin parallel to the edge of your mat. Bring the bony landmark of your left ankle bone all the way to the fleshy part of your right knee. If your top foot sickles in and you see the top of your foot on top of your right knee, you're not far over enough. You're not getting the hip stretch that you could. So push your foot over so much so that even the pinky edge of your left foot is hanging off of your right knee. You can't even see the sole of your left foot right now. You might look a little bit more like this, and that's totally fine. You're getting the alignment. So just as we've been doing, think sit bones down and back. Lift your chest up first, and then as you start to hinge forward, your knee will naturally start to move down. Your block is here to help you rest in any way that you need to. You can also rest your third eye onto your block for a little extra support. Don't forget to sanitize your blocks regularly. If you're just so uncomfortable and there's no way that this is going to get comfortable today, do something different that's going to work better for your body. Recline figure 4 is always a wonderful option. I get tired of recline figure 4, so I also like to try a few other things. You can press your left hand to your left inner thigh, hook your left toes around your right knee, and then start to really push your thigh away from you. Now, if you can't quite get that reach for whatever reason, use something to help you get that. Hook your foot around your knee to help stabilize you and keep you in place. That's a really fun variation. You can also take a wide Janu Shirasana. So the center of your right foot is going to be in the center of your body. Your left hand out, your right sit bone down, and then you can reach your right arm up and over. That'll get a little bit more across your low back, but if you're so tight that you can't sit comfortably in double pigeon, your low back probably needs a little bit of love too. Just being honest. Stay for 5 more breaths wherever you are. One more breath in. And a breath out. Slowly unwind. And just switch yourself over to the other side. So we did right shin down first. You're going to do left shin down first, whichever side you didn't do before. Remember, bony landmark of your top ankle all the way onto the fleshy part of your bottom knee. The pinky edge of your top foot is all the way off of your bottom knee, and you can't even see the sole of your top foot. If you see the sole of your top foot, it's not far over enough. I promise it's going to make a world of a difference for your hips. Sit tall. Get your spine really long first before you hinge forward. If you need another variation, you can place your back down and take recline figure 4. Most people already know that one. Or hook your right foot around your right knee. So already right here, I'm getting a deep external rotation, but I'm not physically moving my thigh bone into that. My hip is working with that. Great activation. Most of the time when muscles, especially muscle groups, are tight, it's not because they're so strong that they're tight. It's actually usually because they're so weak. And then press your right hand into your right thigh or use the block to help you and open up. Final option if you took so on the other side, nice wide Janushirasana. Center of your foot into the center of your body. Keep your left sit bone down as you reach your left arm up and over. Stay for 5 more breaths. One more breath in here. One more breath out. And there's at least a few more minutes on the playlist that's going to be kind of following along with this class. So if you are listening to the playlist, go ahead and keep going. There's a song for Shavasana in it if you need it. And I really encourage everyone to take a full moment to themselves, whether you're seated or you're laying down, to just really check in, ask what your soul needs today, and be gentle with yourself. You're doing a great job. With a deep and gracious heart from mine to yours, I say Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere in the world be happy and free. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.